Here we are, and was I nice and slow with that?
Yeah, but you did it better last one.
I think the one I did.
Goosey.
Yeah, Loosey Goosey, but I think the one I did last week was the best, don't you? I'm getting better.
Welcome back, everybody. Big Daddy Russ Horton. I'm Lee Lakin with Leah Lywood. Once again, we're on location at Ezee Taxi in Halton Hills, Ontario, Canada, and Fred's Towing, for that matter. Welcome to our Air Radio Loosey Goosey show. Lots of trivia today.
Yeah, lots of trivia.
Ozzy's back in the trivia once again.
Ozzy doesn't. Oh, he's always in Leah's
He's
trivia.
Constantly in the trivia.
Ozzy and
he doesn't stop.
Boy, talk about a machine. Between him and Keith Richards, who's going to last longer?
I have no idea, but Ozzy doesn't look that great anymore. He went back to England, I think, to get away from it all.
I think so. Well, he's got a new album coming out, so.
Well, he still sounds great. He has a new single out.
Yeah.
And,
If you can understand the words.
Sheldon. All right, so we're brought to you by Extraordinary Yellowknife, and they contacted me this week, and they had FM108.ca and RadioGTA.ca blasting up there in their office.
Thank you very much.
And we, of course, promoted them all week on our weather forecast. We do a national weather twice an hour.
Right.
And brought to you by Extraordinary Yellowknife. And I worked the Yellowknife years ago in the 70s. It's totally changed today. It's a huge city. It's like driving around Toronto. Yeah. Well, not Toronto, but
maybe
Winnipeg,
Ottawa.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
It's they have a few large buildings.
Good old Winterpeg.
And the one thing I love about Yellowknife is at a certain time of the year, like 99% of the time, you can drive right across the Great Slave Lake. Well, you can. It's a little highway they have out there. They go out and it's a neat place. Now the big news stories, I guess we'll go through these quickly. Now the Canadian government's asking us to wear face masks again indoors. Federal health officials are urging us Canadians to wear them as we head into, as we were saying on the other show, as we head into winter and flu season, and COVID's going to be one of them.
Yep,
it's up there
definitely.
now. Multiple unions are planning a mass Ontario-wide walkout to protest the Ford government. That's according to sources. And the Emergencies Act should be a once-in-a-generation kind of tool. That's according to Miss Freeland there, the deputy. She says. What else is going on there?
Talking about the Emergencies Act, they're saying that just don't use the notwithstanding clause proactively. Trudeau says after Ford calls out the Prime Minister on using the Freedom Act.
This week.
Yeah, big time. The U.S. election that was going on, Trump tears into the Republican rival DeSantis, and Biden hails better than expected midterm results. What? Also, Elon Musk warns Twitter survival at stake as staff is quitting on him. So
call me an old fogey, but I don't tweet. I don't tweet.
I don't tweet.
I'm a Facebook guy, and that's where all the old farts are, I guess. But why did he buy it if he's going to close it?
I just don't. Yeah, the whole thing's just turned into a shit show.
He just likes to play. He's got so much money.
Oh, he's got so much money. It's just ridiculous. Just send us some. Elon, we'll take some of your money and we'll promote the hell out of you.
No. Archaeologists have made groundbreaking discovery of what might be the tunnel leading to Cleopatra's tomb.
I've been watching this on Expedition Unknown, and it is so cool. If you get a chance to check it out with Josh Gates, really cool show.
And of course, everybody watches Jeopardy.
I lost on Jeopardy.
It's not the same without Alex Trebek, who's a Sudbury boy, by the way. He's a Canadian, eh? But Matea Roach held on to her quiz show crown. She beat her fellow super champions. Of course, she's Canadian, eh?
Yeah, Canadian,
Halifax,
they take coffee.
And that's a great show too, Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. Whenever I see that on TV, I think of my mom because I used to watch it. Well, I used to learn from that show as a kid. Yeah. Daylight savings times here. Everyone was complaining about being dark at 6 o'clock, but it's light at 7 a.m. Who cares?
Exactly.
What's wrong? Oh, come on. Stop whining.
It wants to be dark at 5 o'clock. Sorry.
Actually,
but
we are
right at 7 now.
Actually, if you look at Central Time, we are actually in the right time that we're supposed to be now.
Okay.
Canada, it's just
exactly. It's supposed to stop. They're supposed to stop it next spring. That was the ordeal that everybody was talking about. We had to get into this time zone to stop it. So it had to go one more time around because Doug Ford says he wants it called off, and so do all the rest of the provinces. So
yeah, we all want it called off. It's dumb. It's stupid. It shouldn't happen at all. It's ridiculous. What difference does it make? We've got the same amount of daylight over a 24-hour period. Who cares how you cut it up? This is so kids can be seen in the morning when they go to school. You know, and by 4 o'clock they're coming home. It's still light. You can see them. Yeah, that's basically what it's for. And it's good. So I would say keep the time that's right now.
Well, it's supposed to be now. That's how it's supposed to be. When you look at the world clock, we are supposed to be in this time zone as of now. Sad story here. Singer-rapper Aaron Carter passes away in California, only at the age of 34 years old.
What happened there?
They found apparently a bunch of cans. So.
Huffing or whatever you call that, or
they
whatever.
Found a bunch of cans in his apartment or hotel room, wherever.
You know, his brother was one of the Backstreet Boys, and
it was his brother that actually announced that.
Yeah,
that's sad.
It's sad. It's 34 years old, just ridiculous.
The lead singer of Nazareth died too.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, just I saw him. The last time I saw them was at Lulu's in Kitchener. And man, his voice was bad. Man,
but you know what? They turned some old songs. Well, Joni Mitchell wrote "This Flight Tonight" for them. Yeah, which they turned into a great song. Joni's version was more folkish, but they put the rock.
Oh, did they ever?
But the one song that I really love from Nazareth is "Love Hurts," the old Roy Orbison song. And they just, the vocals on that were absolutely incredible.
That's the one they're most known for, I think, is Love Hurts. I mean, all the other ones are some big ones.
Razamanaz, I love Razamanaz.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds,
Son of a
that's
bitch.
a real signature.
You're messing with the son of a bitch now?
Yeah.
And,
now you're messing with
the son of a bitch. Yeah. But great old band.
Oh, great band, man. I love their tunes, love their stuff. My brother and sister had to take me when I was like 12 because my brother got tickets and he didn't want to tell my parents, and my parents went out and he was supposed to babysit me and my sister.
So you had to go.
So me and my sister had to go with him to the concert, and it was awesome. I was like, wow, because this is the first concert I'd ever been to.
You know what? You know when we say about songs take you back in time. When we were talking just now about This Flight Tonight, I have a vision of me laying in my room recording the top 30 when I was a kid. Yeah. And on Radio Luxembourg, and there's Kid Jensen counting down the top 30, and there comes Nazareth, this new song, and I'm going, wow, is that ever a good song? And it just takes me back. It's wonderful the way songs do that. Yeah. Back in time. Yeah. We should get on with Leah's trivia, folks. Oh, sports, I guess. We have to mention the Astros won the World Series. Yan.
Yeah. Yan.
I was going for the Phillies. Because I got a lot of radio buddies down in Philadelphia.
That's true, yeah.
And of course, next year I'm gonna pick the Jays to do better next year because you can't do any worse than
what happened there. That was just
last year. So
that was brutal.
And Leafs are playing well.
They're actually playing tonight. The night we're recording this, they're playing tonight.
And Calgary and Edmonton have slipped a bit. Ottawa is down the shitter.
Yeah. And you hear Ryan Reynolds might be buying the Ottawa Senators.
Well, they need some help because
Deadpool's going to own the Ottawa Senators.
Isn't that cool? Who knows?
I love Deadpool. My favorite movie.
Yeah, one of them. You know what I watched The Dirty Dozen this week. I haven't seen that in 20 years. Just a great old movie. But that's what old people do. They sit on the couch and watch old movies.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. It's time for Leah's Trivia. And this week in 1958, Billboard magazine reports that Dick Clark's American Bandstand show on ABC is the hottest merchandising opportunity on television, noting that sales of Beech-Nut gum have doubled since the company began buying ad space on that program. It's amazing how powerful TV shows are.
Absolutely, I totally agree. On a trial in a Toronto court on drug possession charges, Jimi Hendrix claimed that he'd only smoked pot 4 times in his life, snorted cocaine twice, took LSD more than 5 times, telling the jury that he has now outgrown the drugs and they found him not guilty. Also, Courtney Love quoted back in 1993, "I am not the Yoko Ono of Nirvana."
Oh
God, that's funny.
I miss Nirvana, man.
Oh God, yeah, big time.
All right, I obviously jumped right ahead of there because you lost me, but I found it again. This week in 1969, Sesame Street debuts on American Public TV. Many of the lessons are taught with songs, and in later seasons, musicians from the charts drop by to help out, like Stevie Wonder, James Taylor, Ray Charles, the Dixie Chicks, and Alicia Keys are among the many to appear on the show. The two big names that turned down offers were Springsteen and Streisand. Right?
Yeah.
Streisand.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm kind of surprised at Streisand.
Why would they turn it down? Yeah. On Sesame Street with Big Bird and all that. You know what I think of when
I would love to do it.
God, yeah.
You know what I think of?
I grew up as a voice guy.
Yeah.
You know, I was hooked to Sesame
You fit
Street.
right in with Animal.
Oh God, yeah.
Can you do the Cookie Monster?
Cookie, me love cookie.
You know what I remember?
God, that was one of the first ones I came out with, and I was doing that at 8 years old.
Do you remember that song, Rubber Ducky, You're the One?
Oh, how
Rubber Ducky, you're the one. Rubber Ducky, so much fun.
Do you remember, like, that actually charted? And,
Oh, God, yeah.
You never hear that song mentioned as well. You know, you hear Seasons of the Sun. Oh, God. You hear... We got to do a whole show on songs that suck. You know, I mean, don't suck.
Pretty much anything by Yoko Ono.
Anything, yeah, well, yeah. And
Sorry,
it's another one
it's a
that
little
just
loud.
grinds my gears is Disco Duck. I just, you know, and I had to play that on the air.
Disco Duck.
You know, it's funny. I never liked it,
Rick
but now
Dees.
when I hear it so little now that
Rick
it
Dees,
takes you
yeah.
back. So it's like it's not my favorite, but
Well, Rick Dees is a great.
kind of fun.
Rick Dees is a great DJ, and it was a promo record for him and his radio career.
Well, it was actually just a little blurb that he would throw on his radio show, and they ended up writing a whole song.
Oh,
about
it's
it,
funny and stuff. It's funny like that.
so
And,
crazy, you know. But
It's just one song that just grates me when I hear it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, not again. You know,
1975, the SS Edmund Fitzgerald sinks suddenly in Lake Superior during a storm, killing all 29 men aboard and inspiring the Canadian folk legend song by our favorite guy, Gordon Lightfoot, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So,
that song is iconic. That's
Gosh, yeah.
one of the greatest songs
Yeah.
of all time, in my
yeah.
opinion.
The Headstones covered it. Check it out when you get a chance. They did an amazing job of covering it, especially, you know, because the Headstones being a harder rock band, right?
Talking about new music.
They're
there's
great
There's a
cover.
new one from Bruce Springsteen, and he's covered the Commodore's Night Shift, and it's going in the Big 20 this week with a bullet. It's
Right
a
on.
great song, and James Rogers played it on his show and opened my eyes to it because I pick all the new songs. But, you know, you got to understand, all of the artists that we grew up listening to are getting ignored by record companies now because they think they're too old. Our guys are still, our gals are still making great stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, you know,
It's not like they got older and lost their talent.
that's right. Like Ken Tobias, one of my favorite Canadian, he put an album out a few years ago. That every track on that album is a dynamite. Should be played on the radio. But nowadays, they want I guess they want the kids. But you know, the old crooners and the old rockers can still do it.
Absolutely.
Bruce Springsteen can do. Elvis Costello, the greatest album he ever made was 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. So you got to remember that the older people are still out there, and it's my job to dig them out. And Willie Nelson is another one that's still recording music.
Yeah. With his sons. His sons are his backup band
Yeah,
now.
his son is great. 2013 at the MTV Europe Awards, Miley Cyrus smokes a joint while accepting her Best Video Award for Wrecking Ball. The ceremony is held in Amsterdam, man, so it's legal, dude. It's legal.
Yeah, I could do it here in Canada now too. So.
We're going back to Sesame Street. No, we printed that twice. There you go. So where are
The first issue this week in history of the Rolling Stone magazine is published with a photo of John Lennon on the cover and items about David Crosby, The Who, Country Joe McDonald of Country Joe and the Fish. And in its early years of publication, Rolling Stone is known primarily for its reporting on music and related issues, especially politics and music. In the debut issue, founder Jan Wenner writes the editor's note that Rolling Stone is intended to be the combination of a newspaper and a magazine, Indeed, the first 3 editions resemble a newspaper more than a glossy magazine. It finally eventually became so.
It's iconic, though. I mean,
absolutely. The Rolling Stone is basically your Bible of the music industry, right?
It is. If there ever was one, there's 2. There's the Billboard Hot 100, and there's Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
And if you remember the Dr. Hook song,
cover of the Rolling Stone.
You know, that's how important it was. You had rock singers singing about wanting to be on there.
Picture on the cover.
And I think it got them on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Buy 5 copies for my mother.
That's right. Here, I guess in 1990, Motley Crue's Tommy Lee was arrested for mooning at the audience during a gig in Augusta and was charged with indecent exposure.
It was quite explicit. It wasn't just a crack. Like, I mean, he literally pulled his pants and you could see like it was brutal.
Again this week, Kylie Minogue's first gig was with Culture Club in Melbourne, Australia, when she was only 14 years old.
Kylie started early.
Very early.
She was in Australia, and she's there's another one that's disappeared from the music scene. Whatever happened to Kylie Minogue? I'm sure, a lot of these people, they don't stop recording. They just stop getting...
Well, I think some of it is that a lot of people don't realize how nasty the music industry actually is, and artists get very jaded at that point, and they get to the point where they're like, you know what, I don't want to deal with you assholes, see you later.
And the perfect example of that is the Chambers Brothers. Time Has Come Today. You know, they didn't get a penny for that, not a penny. And it's a story. Google that song and the history of it, because he just died. One of the members of the Chambers Brothers came out and said, listen, I'm barely making a living here. I'm on, and and these fat cats are playing this, I almost swore, this song, and the guy that recorded it is not getting anything for it.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
And that's the problem back in the 60s and 70s, these record deals that were going on, even the 50s.
But that's why you saw a lot of artists start their own record labels.
Yeah.
Well, Andy Kim, Rock Me Gently, which was his one of the biggest hits of the 70s.
Yeah.
Guy from Montreal, by the way. The only way he could get them to play that was to go out and start his own record company and pay for everything himself, and he did. He showed those guys.
Yeah.
There you go. #1 on Billboard. And people were... He had a lot of hits in the late 60s, but they were... he faded off a little bit there, and they thought he'd lost it, He come back with that one, and he socked it to him. And that's one of the good stories of rock and roll in here.
Yeah. 1990.
Right. Yeah, it was the IRS are coming after Willie Nelson, who owes $16 million in back taxes. His assets, including master tapes, clothing, and gold records, are seized. Nelson saved his favorite guitar, Trigger, by having it sent to Maui before the feds arrived.
I love that. That's so...
I can just see Willie.
They're coming.
They're coming. Get Trigger out of here. Send him to Maui.
Absolutely.
I love Willie Nelson, man.
1998, Rick James suffers a stroke after a blood vessel ruptures in his neck while he's headbanging during a performance in Denver, Colorado. A spokesman later comments the doctor called it a result of a rock and roll neck.
Wow.
A repeated rhythmic whiplash motion of the head and neck.
Doesn't that
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, you would. It was like how Malcolm how Malcolm Young or Angus Young did it.
Yeah, you look at those guys and they're doing it.
It's constant.
That's all
right?
he did. I don't even know what he looks like because you never saw him sit still long enough to a concert.
And Rick James died later. I wonder if that was a
result of that, maybe.
2010, a 3-alarm fire in a warehouse where Neil Young stored everything from vintage cars to guitars, and the cases as well caused damage estimated of $800,000. The cause is promptly investigated, but fire officials say they didn't find any evidence of arson, but he lost everything in that fire. Neil Young.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. Pink Floyd performed under various monikers in their early years, including T-Set, Stigma 6, the Screaming Abadabs, the Leonard Lodgers after their landlord Mike Leonard. So yeah, Leonard Lodgers.
I like the Screaming Abdabs.
Yeah.
Eric Clapton's first job was a temporary postman. Imagine Eric dropping off your mail.
Off your mail for us.
And a little bit of history in here. 1887, Emil Berliner is granted the first patent for the gramophone. And in the 1890s, he starts manufacturing gramophone players and discs. But in the early 1900s, the Victor Talking Machine Company becomes the market leader. But he was the one
becoming RCA.
Yeah, and he was the one that started it all. And what happened in 2012? That's kind of sad.
Yeah, very sad story. Tragedy strikes at Linkin Park concert in Cape Town, South Africa, where winds cause the main scaffolding to collapse. This sends an advertisement tower plummeting into the crowd of fans and into the parking lot after the show, killing one and injuring 19 more people.
There's no tragedy in rock and roll.
Yeah, just you go to a concert, have fun, and all of a sudden it just turns into a shit show. Oh,
absolutely.
Definitely.
Many of those.
November 7th, 1970, this week in music history from Leah's Trivia. MGM Records president Mike Curb announced that his label is dumping 18 acts that exploit and promote hard drugs through music. Curb, who's 25 at the time, makes the announcement in the trade magazine Billboard, and the headline, MGM busks 18 rock groups. And this is what they had to say, drug groups are the cancer of the industry. Their effect on young people who are their fans or followers is devastating. When they appear smashed out of their minds and describe musically a great experience they had on LSD, they are glorifying hard drugs. I credit hard drug record acts with hundreds and hundreds of new young drug users. And really, when you think about it, it's kind of true in a way.
There's some reality to it, absolutely. And I don't think so much today as it was back in the 70s and 80s, but I do tend to agree a little bit with it.
Mike Curb also had a top 40 hit. It was the Mike Curb Congregation. It was
Oh, I remember that, right? Yeah.
And he went on to actually be in government eventually.
Yeah, interesting guy.
During a 2002 UK rock band, Muse took legal action against Celine Dion after she announced her forthcoming Las Vegas show would be called Muse. Singer Matt Bellamy band said, "We don't want anyone to think we're Celine Dion backing band."
Well, I guess not. Why would she do that? Doesn't she check the charts to see who's popular nowadays?
She probably didn't even know. It's not even her genre.
No, it's not her genre. They're rockers, but she's a pop.
She probably didn't even think about it. Honestly, I bet she didn't even think about it.
But they do have people in their
but Muse are a big band
that should have figured that out.
Muse are a huge band. They are.
I know they are. But like Lee said, that should have been more the responsibility of those that do the marketing and other things.
Her people that work under her should have figured that out. So,
I mean, nothing taken away from Celine Dion. She's a wonderful gal. And where are we now here? Peter Gabriel. His first gig was with John Mayall's the Blues Breakers. Yeah. He started in the blues and stayed with the blues, of course. I'll do one more. Yeah. 1996, on the Seinfeld episode, The Checks, Elaine is frustrated by her new boyfriend's obsession with the Eagles song Desperado. I remember that. Desperado. The actor James Patrick Stewart has a real-life musical connection. You know what it was? His father is Chad Stewart, half of the 60s pop duo Chad and Jeremy. They've had so many 60s hits, it's unbelievable.
That's very cool, though, how that connection's there, though. Like it's kind of.
There's always a connection there. This one here, I couldn't believe it. When I read this, I thought I'd give it to you.
Yeah. 2016, Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart star in the first episode of Martha and Snoop Dogg's Potluck Dinner Party, where they make fried chicken with Seth Rogen and Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. Here they are making fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
There's nothing like entertaining TV watching.
Those two
Snoop
are
Dogg.
Hilarious together.
Yeah.
The commercials
Martha
they do.
Stewart
and Snoop Dogg. That's what I mean.
And then the other ones too.
Yeah.
He stands out like a sore thumb.
Oh, God, yeah.
But I bet they all enjoyed the fried chicken.
Oh, it was probably damn good. Made by Martha Stewart, man. Smoke a big fatty and then snarf down on some fried chicken.
Oh, God. I have so much fun on this show.
This is cool, though. I like this one, too.
Bryan Adams' first gig was with David Bowie on the Diamond Dogs tour in Ottawa. That's a good way to start, Bryan. And he's got a new single out, which is my record of the week this week on the show, by the way. James Blunt, here's a quote. I keep everything of value in the loo. In fact, I have a letter from the Queen in the loo. So, James, has all his documents in the toilet, including a letter from Her Majesty the Queen.
Exactly. That's so hilarious.
What a nutter.
1975, the Sex Pistols play their first gig, opening for the band Bazooka Joe at St. Martin's School of Art in London. Bazooka Joe's lead singer, Stuart Goddard, is so inspired by the set, he drops out of art school and takes on the name Adam Ant.
So that's how Adam Ant was born.
Became. That's right.
1976, this week in 76, Blue Oyster Cult land their biggest hit as Don't Fear the Reaper peaks at number 12 in the U.S. The song is not about suicide, as many thought, but about reuniting with loved ones in the afterlife. And of course, that song is played every Halloween.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's a great rock and roll song. I can hear there's, you know, you can always tell a great rock and roll song. It doesn't matter how many times you hear it, you still crank it up. And every time it came on, I think FM 108, when we had our Halloween show, played it 6 times on Halloween night.
Yeah.
It's once a year. You know?
Yeah.
But fun old song. And in 2015, after visiting the Texas Capitol 2 days earlier, here we are. Ozzy Osbourne visits the Alamo in San Antonio, where he famously peed on the statue in 1982. Ozzy's road trip is part of the History Channel show he's working on with his son at the time, Jack. But, you know, every week, there's an Ozzy story coming from somewhere. I think he's the king of this show.
And if you get a chance, it was such a great show that him and Ozzy go on these trips all over the place. And it was such a great show. I wish they never stopped doing it. But
I do love Ozzy. I mean, how can you not love him?
It's so much fun, and you love Ozzy just to watch his antics and his.
I love his music, though. He's
absolutely! Oh God, yeah.
And people poke fun at him all the time, but you know what?
Huge Black Sabbath and Ozzy fan, so
I mean, he's a rock and roll icon. He's like the Chuck Berry of our generation, really. One of them, anyway.
One of them.
There's quite a few.
I still don't see him doing the duck walk across the stage, though. So.
Not unless he's had some help to do the duck walk.
That's right.
You know,
a big white bag of sugar.
But you know, I remember the time when he met the Queen. Well, never mind. That didn't turn out so well. Poor old Ozzy. And Pete Townsend. This guy's a bit of a nut.
He is a bit of a nut, absolutely. And it's 1973. Pete Townsend freaks out when the backing tapes for the sound effects on 515 don't play properly during a Who concert in Newcastle. Townsend takes out his rage by punching the road manager in charge of the tapes and tearing up the equipment. The show is stopped but resumes about 15 minutes later.
But I'm sure he had some lawsuits. He's gone nuts a few times. I love his music, but hey, you know, settle down there, buddy. It's, you know, smoke a joint or something, you know.
He's got a temper.
Chill. Yeah, but that's ridiculous. Hitting a road manager? You know. In 1983, Billy Joel was at the number 1 on the UK singles chart with Uptown Girl, which stayed on the top of the charts for 5 weeks on both sides of the water. And the song was initially written about his relationship with his then-girlfriend, Ellie McPherson, but it ended up also becoming about his soon-to-be wife, Christy Brinkley.
How does this guy get these 2 smoking hot models?
He sings piano, man.
Like, man.
That's all you have to do, baby.
Not very good looking, in my opinion.
Not at all.
I think I look like Billy Joel around the eyes.
But he must have the personality going on.
That's it, yeah.
Well, he certainly has the music in his head. I mean...
amongst other things, maybe.
Yeah. But, so you don't think Billy Joel's good looking? I thought he was pretty good.
When he was younger, he wasn't ugly, but I didn't consider him good looking.
Yeah.
But as he got older...
Yeah, well, everybody gets older.
He changed a lot, just less hair.
Yeah. And a little grayer what was there, and interesting though.
Not my type. Let's just put it that way.
But very cool. I love the trivia every week. It's just it's informative.
Well, it's fun to get your and
oh,
there it is. The signal is over.
I didn't do it.
But we're here at in Georgetown, Ontario, Canada. Broadcasting the Air Radio Network show. We have a lot of fun, and we run radio stations. That's what we do.
As well, yes.
As well, we have FM108.ca, as you all know, our 50s, 60s, 70s, and Radio GTA is our freeform radio station. And we have national news, world news, Canadian weather twice an hour.
Great music.
Sports.
Don Cherry.
Don Cherry is on. So, you know, we've got it all going here. and we're the new. I mean, I'd give it 10 years, and the AM and the FM dial is going to go.
AM we'll see go first.
AM will go first, and then FM will go. But they're going, guys.
AM will become an emergency broadcast system only.
I can see that. I can see the new cars all have the internet, so you just pick your own radio station as you go. You know what I mean? So you can take us anywhere.
Absolutely. Bluetooth your phone to your car, and you can take us anywhere, and you don't lose the station. You can drive from here. Like I said, we've had people drive to Florida from here listening to our station.
They're listening to us in Yellowknife in stereo.
Absolutely.
In the Northwest Territories.
Absolutely. Got a great new website. Check it out. Yeah. We just love having...
We're working, like and we have to thank Leah Lywood. She's amazing.
Absolutely.
We love her very much. She's the one with the mom's spit. And by the way, we're wearing our... but she's put a wonderful website together for Halton Hills Online. And I believe she said that we could branch off for the other two stations and so we can have all that.
All in one.
Yeah, all in one. So we're really excited about that. And we want to thank you, Leah, both Leah and I, for
my pleasure.
all the wonderful work you've done. And she didn't know anything about
websites and stuff. And,
well,
she knew a little bit, but she's had a very quick educational couple of weeks.
And thank you so much to Allison Meeks, who's helped us so much getting all of our domain names in order and everything else. She's just a wonderful lady, and she's helping you a little bit. She showed you some tricks, and we appreciate that.
And it takes a lot of work to everybody. We've also got Austin Douglas as well. Another part of our team that's just been an integral part of our team. So thank you, Austin.
He's the guy that keeps us on the air. He's
absolutely. We all have a part in what we do, and everybody does a great job, and it keeps it going.
You'll soon be able to listen to all of the stations live on the website. You can right now with the local one.
Yeah.
But
we're really looking forward to that.
And we also want to, of all people, thank you people for watching our videos. The videos are growing. We're getting more and more. We're getting a lot more viewers now. And we want to thank you guys, because without it, we'd just be sitting here talking to ourselves.
Yeah, well, we have fun.
We still have fun.
We still have fun doing it. We still do it.
Talking about old rock and roll is what I do. That's my life, I mean, rock and roll.
That's because we're old.
That's because we're old, yeah.
That's our time.
It's our old. And it's what we know. And it's what we know, right? It is.
You're always 8 years old up here.
Yeah.
We're always 8 years old up here.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, I've been a sports and a music and a news junkie all my life, and I'm still the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm like a little kid when I'm writing a newscast or a sportscast, because I get so much out of it. You know what I mean?
That's me with doing the trivia.
Exactly, the trivia.
I'll be spending hours, then I'll go, I got other things I gotta do.
Like if you want to know
where did that 3 hours just go?
If you want to know what the weather's like in Baker Lake, just ask Big Daddy. He'll tell you.
He'll tell you.
If you want to know what the sports, how Minnesota did last night, ask Big Daddy. He'll tell you. What's Trump doing? Ask Big Daddy. He'll tell you. Even locally with the local station. But I feel like I'm connected to the world that way, I guess. And by the way, if you want to go, if you're in Acton, downtown Acton, Canada, at any time, you can check out our notice board there. And our radio station is going to be playing up there.
Concept Leather,
outside
downtown
Concept
Acton.
Leather. Yeah.
So.
See, internet radio we have to come up with all these different things to do, because it's not just like AM, FM. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We have to get people to, hey, that's something. And I think our radio is top notch. I really do. Yeah. With the music we play.
I know it is.
And
I don't think it is. I know it is.
With our stations, you don't get 10 minutes an hour of commercials. We talk about Canadian tourism if we talk about anything.
Anything, yeah.
And
speaking of that, we're brought to you by
Yellowknife Tourism, of course. Amazing Yellowknife, and they're up in the Northwest Territories, and they're listening to us. And one of the wonderful things about Yellowknife is it's a large city in a great big ice bucket.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're surrounded by snow, and in the summer it's beautiful. But the black flies are the size of linemen on the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
They're just picking you up and taking you away. They're not biting you anymore.
Right.
So
they could carry away a small child, as a matter of fact. But it's a beautiful area, and the beautiful Inuit people. Learn about their cultures. Learn about the native people of our continent up there. Very much so. The scenery is beautiful. Don't go for a walk in the woods without a can of bear spray, though. I'll warn you about that.
Or a Metallica tune.
Or a Metallica tune. They don't like Metallica.
They don't like Metallica for some reason.
Big fans of Karen Carpenter, from what I understand, but they don't like Metallica.
All right, for Big Daddy Russ Horton, Leah Lywood, I'm Lee Lakin. Thank you all once again for tuning in. We love having you as viewers, and tune in next week for another great show of the Air Radio Loosey Goosey Show. Have a great week, and we'll catch you all on the B-side.
Now, hello to Stu Patterson and Mark Panopoulos,
Mike Devine,
and Bruce Barker, and all the gang.
All the gang.
Can you see us there in Guelph?